When life breaks you open, finding strength in your shattered places, have you ever felt like the universe was playing a cosmic joke on you? Like it decided to throw not just one challenge your way, but an entire avalanche of them? That moment when you're already down and life decides to kick you again and again and again. I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Theresa Mcwoodson, a woman whose story of resilience left me breathless. Theresa isn't just a survivor, she's a revolutionary force of nature who has transformed her pain into purpose with such grace that everyone in her orbit feels the healing ripples. Her journey through breast cancer, the devastating loss of her cousin, and navigating a turbulent home life all simultaneously isn't just remarkable. It's a masterclass in human resilience that challenges everything we think we know about strength. When Theresa received her breast cancer diagnosis, she didn't just face a medical crisis, she faced an identity crisis, a mortality crisis, a faith crisis. And yet here she stands, not just surviving, but showing others how to thrive, even when life seems determined to break you completely apart. I want to tell you something that might sound absurd at first. Sometimes being broken open is exactly what we need. I know. That sounds like the kind of inspirational nonsense you'd find on a coffee mug in the clearance section of TJ Maxx. But stay with me. When life shatters us, it also creates new edges, places where light can enter that weren't there before, places where we can connect with others in ways we never imagined possible. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, creating something more beautiful than the original. What if our broken places could be like that? The first truth Teresa shared, and one I'll never forget, is that resilience is possible even when life feels impossible. Even when you're staring down the barrel of a diagnosis that terrifies you, even when grief wraps itself around your throat like a vice, even when your home, which should be your sanctuary, becomes another battlefield. Let me tell you about Robin Roberts. You probably know her as the poised, warm anchor of Good Morning America. What you might not fully appreciate is that in 2007, Robin sat in a doctor's office and heard the words no one wants to hear. You have breast cancer. She underwent surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, the full brutal gauntlet. Then, just as she was finding her footing again, life knocked her down with a second diagnosis in 2012, myelodysplastic syndrome, a rare blood disorder requiring a bone marrow transplant. All of this while millions of Americans watched her every morning, expecting her to be composed, informed, and engaging. Can you imagine having to put on makeup, sit under bright lights, and discuss the day's headlines when your body is waging war against itself? When you're wondering if you'll live to see next year? But here's what's extraordinary about Robin's story and what connects it so deeply to Teresa's wisdom. Robin didn't just endure her treatments, she transformed her experience into advocacy, helping register thousands of new bone marrow donors. She returned to work. She received the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. She changed how we talk about illness in the workplace. Robin Roberts didn't just survive, she redefined what survival looks like. She showed us that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's actually the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And that's the first lesson Teresa wants us to remember. Resilience isn't about bouncing back to who you were before, it's about becoming something new, something that couldn't have existed without the breaking. But, and this is crucial, no one does this alone. Which brings me to Teresa's second truth. A support system isn't just helpful, it's essential. When life tries to break you, it's the people who stand beside you, who refuse to let you fall, who make all the difference. Think about it. Even the strongest skyscrapers have deep foundations and internal support structures. Why do we expect humans to stand tall without the same? The African American Breast Cancer Alliance understands this at a bone deep level. Founded in 1990 by survivors who felt isolated during their cancer journeys, AABCA created something revolutionary, a space where Black women with breast cancer could find others who truly understood their experience. This matters profoundly because Black women in America face higher mortality rates from breast cancer, often due to delayed diagnosis and limited access to culturally competent care. When you're fighting for your life, the last thing you need is to also fight to be seen, heard, and understood. AABCA provides peer support groups, survivor mentorship, and community education. They've supported thousands of women, hosted annual awareness events, and influenced national breast cancer advocacy. But their most important achievement might be the simplest, ensuring that Black women have a voice and a village throughout their journey. As Theresa emphasized in our interview, I could not have made it this far without the unwavering love and help from my community. This isn't weakness, this is wisdom. In our culture, especially for Black women, there's often pressure to be strong, to handle everything, to never let them see you sweat. The strong Black woman trope isn't just exhausting, it can be deadly when it prevents us from seeking help. The soft girl era, this beautiful movement toward embracing vulnerability, rest, and community, isn't frivolous, it's life saving. It's recognizing that softness isn't weakness, it's a radical act of self love. Which brings me to Teresa's third truth: acceptance and self compassion are vital to healing. Dr. Thema Bryant, the current president of the American Psychological Association, embodies this principle. As a Black woman in academia and mental health, Dr. Bryant has faced personal and systemic obstacles, including racial trauma and burnout. Her response: embracing self compassion, therapy, and spiritual practices. She encourages others to accept their pain as part of the healing process, not to bypass it or minimize it, but to honor it as real. Dr. Bryant has become a leading voice in trauma recovery, published books, led national organizations, and created platforms specifically for Black women's healing. Her work has transformed conversations around mental health in the Black community. What makes her approach so powerful is that it's both evidence based and soul deep. It recognizes that healing isn't linear, that some days you're moving forward and other days you're just trying to breathe, and that both kinds of days are valid. As Teresa shared, I've learned to accept what I cannot change and to be gentle with myself through ongoing struggles. Healing isn't linear, and it's okay to feel pain, anger, or sadness as you work through your journey. This is where many of us stumble. We think healing means never feeling bad again. We think resilience means never breaking down. We think strength means never needing help. But what if we've got it all backward? What if healing means feeling everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and continuing anyway? What if resilience means allowing yourself to break when you need to, knowing you can put yourself back together? What if strength means having the courage to say, I can't do this alone? I want to share something that might sound counterintuitive. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to drop the cape, to stop being Superwoman, to admit that you're tired, scared, or overwhelmed. High achieving women, especially Black women between 38 and 55, have spent years in survival mode, leading teams, raising families, holding down households, carrying communities, and they're exhausted. They're ready to shift from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. This isn't about aesthetics or trends. It's about a spiritual, emotional, and mental recalibration. It's about healing from trauma, dropping the superwoman cape, learning to say no without guilt, embracing self love and authenticity, and for many, finding faith as a foundation through it all. When I asked Theresa what she wants people to do differently after hearing her story, her answer was clear. First, reach out to your support system or build one if you don't have it. Don't be afraid to ask for help or to accept it when it's offered. Whether you're facing illness, heartbreak, or any challenge, let people in and allow them to walk with you. Second, practice self compassion. When things get tough, give yourself permission to feel, to rest, and to heal. Accept your journey with all its ups and downs and know that you are worthy of love and kindness from others and from yourself. And finally, embrace your identity as an overcomer. Whatever you're facing, remind yourself that you have already survived so much and you will continue to rise. So here's my challenge to you today. Choose one area where you've been trying to be invincible and deliberately let someone help you just once. See what happens. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that humans were never meant to do life alone. I want you to leave this talk and immediately text or call one person who has offered support that you've been too proud to accept. Say yes to their help. Watch what happens when you allow yourself to be carried sometimes instead of always being the one who carries. Life will break you. That's not pessimism, it's reality. At some point, something will happen that shatters your sense of safety, identity, or purpose. But what Theresa has shown us, what Robin Roberts and Dr. Thema Bryant and countless others have demonstrated, is that our broken places can become our most powerful connection points with others. In the words of Ernest Hemingway, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places. You don't have to be unbreakable. You just have to be willing to gather up the pieces, accept the gold that fills the cracks, and let your light shine through. Not despite being broken, but because of it. The question isn't whether you'll be broken. The question is, when you are broken open, will you have the courage to let the light in? And then will you have the generosity to let that light shine back out into a world that desperately needs it? That is the revolution Theresa Mcwoodson is leading. That is the invitation before us all. And that is how Peace by Golden Peace, we heal not just ourselves, but our communities and our world. Thank you.